Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, this afternoon, Wednesday. My name is John Shoemaker from the Department of Educational Technology, and I'm here today to introduce our Smart Technologies trainers who are going to be doing formative assessments with SLSO. But before we get started, as always, we've got some housekeeping tips. As a reminder, this session is being recorded. We are live on YouTube right now, and it will be at the same link that you used to get here when you joined us earlier. It's also going to be on our channel, which is down below. Throughout the session and at any time, we encourage you to please tweet or use Twitter to share what you're doing in your classroom, and not just with SLSO, but anything that you're doing in your classroom. Please feel free to tag us using, not the selfie, but by using hashtag ETPBCPD and tagging at EdTechPBC in what you're doing. We'll take a look, we'll retweet you guys, we'll follow you guys, just to see all the technology integration you're doing out there. We would love to see what you're doing, and we can't wait to see all those exciting things that you're using to engage your students. As always, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below and get notified every time that we go live or post a video. We do have our moderators in the chat box over on the right-hand side. They have a wrench next to their name, and you can always use that chat box to communicate and ask questions. And so with that, I'm going to introduce one of our smart trainers to talk about formative assessment with SLSO. So I'm going to introduce Laura Van Helmont. Laura, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to be here today to be able to share with you about how the Smart Learning Suite Online can be used for fun, formative assessment in a digital environment, blended environment, online, virtual, in person. It kind of meets the needs for everybody. So what I'm going to have you guys do today is you're going to join into my class, and we're going to participate as if you were students. So I'm going to kick off today's session a little differently by having you join in with me at hellosmart.com. And I'm going to have you join in at class code 511688, and you can see that's on the screen for you. hellosmart.com 511688. And you're going to be able to participate in the different formative assessment activities that we have today to see the variety of what the Smart Learning Suite Online has to offer for you. So I know I'm coming to you from about 15 or 20 seconds in the future. So I'm going to just take a minute to be able to introduce myself. I'm going to have John keep up that class code, and I'm going to go on to the next slide. My name is Laura Van Helmont, and I am one of the smart trainers that is here locally in Palm Beach County that helps to support the district with the rollout of the smart flat panels, as well as Smart Learning Suite Online and Smart Notebook software. You can see my email down there below. So if you have any questions after today's webinar or anytime in the future about anything smart, you can go ahead and email me. Or you can feel free to follow me on Twitter at TechSavvyLaura, and I'll connect with you and you connect with me. It's pretty awesome. We've got a couple students or a couple teachers already participating in at hellosmart.com. So hellosmart.com 511688, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready to roll into our first activity. For our agenda today, what we're going to cover is we're going to talk about the importance of formative assessment and how it can be used to help support instruction. We're also going to have an experience. So you're going to have a variety of experiences that you'll have today about how you can use formative assessment with Smart Learning Suite Online. And I'm going to teach you about how we can learn how to create these fun and engaging activities. I have been notified that there's a little bit of a lag, so I am going to make sure that I slow down and make sure everyone is able to join in with us before I continue moving on. And we're going to get ready to participate. All right. To kick off this first activity, it's called a Shout It Out. It is one of our most popular tools that we use for formative assessment. And it's kind of like an electronic pinboard where I'm able to pose a question to you, or if I was teaching my students, and then you're able to actually answer in, and all the answers are going to virtually pop in. On your screen, what you'll see when I hit the start button is a box for you to be able to enter in the answers to the question I'm asking. In order to see the answers, you'll navigate back over to the YouTube page where you're watching us live to be able to see the answers. So I have two questions for you. What do you think formative assessment is, and why do you think it's important? So again, on your screen, what you're going to see is you will see a box that you'll be able to enter in the information of the questions. What is formative assessment, and why is it important? If you still want to join in on our class, I'll have John put that code up one more time for us at hellosmart.com 511-688. And you're still able to join in on the activity. And if you do jump back over to my screen, what you will be able to see is everyone's answers starting to pop in on the screen. So what is a formative assessment? If I click on it, I'm able to enlarge it. It's a quick snapshot to see how the students are doing. And it's super important right now. If you have students who are participating virtually and you have students who are participating in person, you really need to gather that data to see, get that little pulse check. How are they doing? Do I need to reteach something? Am I ready to go on? Super important. Using the navigation buttons below, I can go over and I can see additional responses. So as you go feedback, helps you make those informed decisions. And now I see if I close out up here, I can go back to my main board to be able to see the other answers on the shouted out. So I can see one answer has been entered for the why behind formative assessments. Make those changes in real time. Exactly. You're able to pivot immediately to help support your students and what they need most. So these are great answers, and this is essentially what we're going to be covering in our time together today. Shout it out gives you that first example of a great way to do a quick formative assessment. Super cool in the Smart Learning Suite Online. This is done with just the click of a button. You see the little plus sign down here? You can literally add a shout it out on the fly. So if you're looking at the students at home and you're looking at students in classroom and they just have that like, I'm not sure if they got what I just taught, you can literally add in a shout it out anywhere into your lesson for those students. Awesome. Thank you everybody for participating, and we're going to move on to our next formative tool. All right, the next activity that I have for you is called a workspace. And so what we're going to do together is I'm going to set us up and I'm going to put us in every one-on-one team workspace. What a workspace is the collaborative activity where all of you now who are in my current class are able to join in on the activity. You're going to find tools on the left-hand side where you're able to move, write, erase, add images or links with a safe search, and type in text. And what I would love for you guys to do is to be able to use these tools to brainstorm some formative assessment things that you use in your classroom, so ideas. One that comes to my head is a jigsaw. So jigsaw, being able to take those ideas and combine them in together. So I put that jigsaw activity under J. You guys have the same tools, and we're currently all within this one workspace together. So as you see other people are adding in, maybe they're adding in images, writing with a pen, or using the text tool, you'll start to see the other ideas populating into this page as well. So I see somebody just said alpha, and they're going to put it under A. Awesome. Awesome also starts with A. I'm going to think of another one. I'm going to think of a pair share. P. Where's P? Add in pair share. Students being able to talk with each other to talk over the ideas. Ooh, carousel brainstorming. That's a good one. I actually have another P one that I'm going to put in, and I'll use a pen tool this time. I'm going to do popcorn. Now I am writing with my mouse, so you'll see it is a little hard, tricky with the mouse. Super intuitive though if you are writing on your smart panel or you have a touch screen display. Projects. Great. Projects are a great way to be able to assess students and see where they're at and let them use those collaborative like brain muscles to be able to show what they know in the classroom. And Pear Deck. Perfect. So the other piece that I can see, I love journals. I'm going to tap on this one that person wrote journals. If you tap on the response as a teacher, what you are able to see here, I have to tap on it, is I can see actually who contributed this as well. So Joe added this in, but if I click on the one that I added, you'll see the teacher added this one. So, ooh, love it. Turn and talk. Let's see who contributed turn and talk. Carol, thank you, Carol. Love Four Corners. We're actually gonna do Four Corners today. Pretty cool. So I love this whole group workspace because everybody within the class is able to contribute in and move their ideas around on the page. So thank you for everybody for contributing in there and trying out possibly your first workspace. At the near the end of our time together, I'm going to go back and show you how these were made in the how-to portion. Okay. Heads up, 7 up. Love it. I remember that from being a kid. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. And I'm going to show you the next tool. The next tool I'm going to share with you is called Smart Response. And Smart Response is our formative assessment tool that actually gives you individual student data. And with this individual student data, you're actually able to perform your data analysis because everything can be saved as a spreadsheet. You can then figure out, hey, how many people got question number 1 right on the quiz to be able to reassess and see if you need to reteach anything before maybe they move on to the final assessment for that chapter. So we're going to do a response together so you can see some of the benefits. This would be used for a live instruction assessment. It's not something that you send the students. It's not like a form. They would be doing it live with you during your synchronous teaching. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this for the class. And what you will start seeing is you'll see some questions in front of you. My screen is going to look different than your screen if you're participating at Hello Smart. My screen is showing me right now the overall answers for our group. I'm also able to see how far along everybody is responding. And you're going to get questions on your end that you will be able to be answering. So true, false, multiple choice, short answer, multi-select. So it kind of mimics the styles that they would be seeing on some traditional assessments that they would be getting in class. Some other tools that I have available that make response unique is I can actually click on the gear, and the gear allows me to see how many people have answered questions. And I could be like, hey, Blessing, go double check your answers. You haven't answered any yet. Great job, John. You're doing really good. You're almost done. If I needed to pause everybody because I needed to reiterate a question or I needed to, we had a break in class, I can always pause it. And if I hit pause on your side, you can't continue. I'm going to go ahead and hit resume though so you guys can continue answering. Some additional features that are really cool in response is that you're able to show the questions live. So I can see how many students have answered question number 1. I can even see how many they have answered. So what is a formative assessment? I've got a split. 7 said A, 3 have said B, 0 have said C. So I can see, maybe I want to have some of the class go back and retry number 1. And so on and so forth. And so I can click through all the answers. One of my favorites is the short answer. And the short answer is a little different than your traditional short answer. It's not a paragraph. It's not several paragraphs. It's not an essay response. It's really a short answer. So what you'll see in here is that if there are repeated answers, you'll see them larger in a word cloud than if you had smaller ones. But I do really love the examples on here of some favorite formative assessments. Exit tickets, class discussions, Fist to 5. I do love Fist to 5. And pair share. If I wanted to see this in a little bit different of a view, you can see discussions bigger now. Multiple people have answered that. On list view, I can click and I can see that 2 people have said the word discussion now. So it appears larger. Click back to overview and it gives me the total completion rate of my entire class. For essence of time in our time together today, I'm going to go ahead and end the activity here. And when I end it, I'm able to review it. I can see how many people have answered questions, which ones that they've answered. I could review it live in class just by sharing the screen and showing it to the students. Or they can be watching like you guys are watching straight from Hello Smart. And then when I hit end review, I can then export my results. When I export my results, it pulls it up into a spreadsheet so that you're able to compare the answers across each individual student. So it gives you a lot of really good data to be able to pull from to make those informed decisions moving forward with your instruction. So that was, again, the SMART response tool. But now I'm into the fun stuff. So this is one of my favorite parts of the Smart Learning Suite Online, is that we have fun formative assessment tools that are built right in as well. And these are usually what we call our games. And so in gamification, you are able to have students play a variety of different games so that you are able to assess how students are doing and give them opportunity for practice on the different strategies, tools, and learnings that they are learning about in class. So the first one, on your end, you're going to go ahead and hit the start button, and I'll hit the start button on my end as well. The first one is called a match-a-bug. And so for this one, we're matching the covalent compound prefix with the meaning of the prefix. This is great for science, this would be great for math, this would be great for ELA, teaching about prefix and suffixes. You could do kind of a variety of different activities. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do deca. And if I know that deca means 10, you'll see that they're able to connect together. And this one, I decided to wait to check my matches until the end, or you can have them check instantaneously. But I'm going to go ahead and check my match and see if I'm right. And it gives me the immediate feedback. I'm correct. Now, let's say I don't know what hexa is. And I'm going to say hexa is 1. And I want to check my answers again. I can see immediately that this one is wrong, so I can pull back out and reset to redo the activity. So kind of a fun game and ability for students to practice, but you're also able to kind of gather that data from the students to see how you are learning along. This next one, I'd say Shout It as one of the most popular, and this is probably the most popular activity we have. It's called Monster Quiz. And a Monster Quiz is a team-based game where students are answering questions quickly and accurately to help the students answer. They have to answer quickly and correctly in order to get the win the prize at the end, which is they're hatching their monster out of an egg or a crate or a box. And so you'll see in a minute here. So if you have not joined into our class, I'm going to give you one last chance here. HelloSmart.com, 511-688. And I'm going to go ahead and hit start for class. I'm going to give it just a few more seconds for anybody who wants to come in and play this game. I am going to make it quiet in my ears so that I can focus. There is some fun music that goes along with this game. I'm going to divide you guys into some teams. I have 9 of you. I'm going to do 3 teams of 3. So I've got my icy coolers, my magma blasters, my fire breathers. In 3 seconds, it is going to start counting down. So you are going to start your quiz. Remember, read the questions, answer quickly and correctly to help to hatch your monster. And go. But I know I'm a few seconds in the head, so let's see. Looks like we're running a good time. Great job, Martha and Diane. And Blessing, good job. I think the fire breathers are in the lead. They know my pop trivia. There might be some questions about Taylor Swift and Harry Styles today. Oh, the magma blasters are catching up. Come on, icy coolers, you can do it. Oh, magma blasters are taking over. Come on, fire breathers. Oh, I see a tail. Oh, I see a body. There's your dragon. Yay, magma blasters. The other teams keep going. Let's see who's going to get number 2. Oh, fire breathers, don't give up. Icy coolers are coming back. Oh, the fire breathers won. Got number 2. I'm going to go ahead and end the quiz. And after you end, you'll see that the magma blasters are our winners. And I can go ahead and review, and I can see that not only did they finish in the fastest time, but they also were the most accurate at 83%. This activity does not give individual student data. However, on your screen, you will see your individual student score and which ones that you got right and wrong. What I can see as a teacher is a class review. So in the class review, I'll be able to see what percentage answered that answer correctly the first time, and to know which one that we need to go over as a class maybe has the lowest percentage. So most of you knew Harry Styles was not a baseball player. A lot of you knew about the Nobel Prize winner as well. But maybe we need to talk about Taylor Swift, and we need to dive in a little deeper on that topic. Okay. So she has a lot of favorite songs, so that was a tricky one. And then I can click back to Team Scoreboard, and then I have all of my teams here again as the total accuracy and time. So again, that is one of our favorite activities. A lot of teachers like to use this prior to a end-of-unit exam, or maybe as a kind of a mid-chapter quiz to kind of gauge where students are at as a whole in the class. All right, some additional ways that you can use formative assessment in the Smart Learning Suite Online are through handouts and workspaces. I know that we already experienced one whole group workspace today, but I'm also going to share with you how you can do small groups or small collaborative group workspaces. And I think that would work really well in tying it in with the breakout rooms that are becoming available in Google Meet. So what I'm going to do is lead you through what handouts are, what workspaces are, and how you can use them for formative assessment. This first one is actually a digital manipulative ready-made activity that I've pulled in directly from Smart Learning Suite. And you guys on your side are going to be able to hit start, and I'm going to be able to see student progress. So as you guys hit start on your screen, I now see all of you. I also see a teacher handout. If I load the teacher handout, it's not going to make any changes to your individual handout, just to my copy to be able to provide an explanation. So what we're going to start off with is you'll see that these letters down at the bottom, your vowels and consonants, can be pulled out. These are infinitely cloned objects that are already created for you. This one, again, is a digital manipulative. And so I'm able to now make multiple copies. So let's say I wanted to make at words, and I wanted to start with bat. And then I could make cat. I could then add a blend and add in an H, and I could make chat. So you could be at the top, you could write in like build at words. So for those of you who teach primary, that's what I would love for you to do on your handout. For those of you who are secondary or maybe fourth grade and above, I want you to add prefixes. So the prefix I'm going to focus in on is try. T-R-I. Okay. And you can pull these letters up, but you also, just like in the workspace that I shared with you earlier, have access to all the tools down the left-hand side to be able to write, add images, and add in with your writing tool. So I could even, as maybe a secondary student, I could do tripod, triangle, instead of having to necessarily use the infinitely cloned objects at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go check in on you guys, and I'm going to see if anybody has had a chance to either add in some at words or some prefixes and suffixes. Let's see here. Diane got tripod. Great job. Elisa, I love this. As a teacher, I can also add in images and text and everything onto the page as well. So I'm able to provide immediate feedback for students. And maybe I would even say now I could add another one. Try to add a blend. And then that could give some feedback to try and increase the rigor on the activity. So awesome. And you can see I'm using these navigation tools just to move back and forth between the students. And then I can collapse to see all of my students again. All of this information is saved in my Google Drive. So everything that the students are doing right now or what you guys are doing right now is all saved in my Google Drive, and I can always go back and grade it after the fact rather than just providing them with immediate feedback. All right, our next example is for those that are musically inclined. Again, you'll see a new start button on your screen. And when I hit start on my side, I will start seeing you popping in as you start to hit start on your side. I'm going to give everybody a second to catch back up with me as you're hitting start. There we go. And I will explain the activity as well. On my teacher handout, again, I can explain the concept to the students to be able to share with them. So this one is, again, one of our ready-made activities in the digital manipulatives bucket. And again, I'm using infinitely cloned objects, so I can pull over my staff and my notes. And I'm going to see if anybody can figure out this very popular song. I'm adding in my notes, and it does repeat. If anybody does recorder karate, you'll probably be able to guess this one. It's a white belt tool. And this first note is B. So I'm going to add B. And I'm going to add in my second note is an A. And my third note is a G. So B-A-G, B-A-G. Hot cross buns. So I'm going to go in and see if anybody is able to guess that as I was writing that up for you. So again, pretty cool ready-made activity. It has a staff. You can add the notes in. Students are able to manipulate as well because I have converted it into a handout. Let's see if anybody's got it here. Anybody's moved some notes. Got some stuff moved around. No, let me try and reload here. And I got slowing down a little bit. Perfect. So we're going to rest, and then we've got 3 notes. Awesome. Very cool. So again, just wanted to show kind of the variety that Smart Learning Suite has to offer. So I've given you a reading example. I've given you some trivia examples. I've given you some music examples. So to show like the variety of what Smart Learning Suite Online has to offer. Now, of course, I've got my math example. This one I actually created by myself. It is not one of the ready-made activities. And I started and created this by using a blank page and added objects and text to the page to build it. So I essentially built a 4-square. So you can go ahead and hit start on your side, and then I will go ahead and pull up my teacher handout. So I built a 4-square. I just put 2 lines, put a square in the middle, rotated it into a diamond, and I put in a math problem in here. And with the math problem, you would have the students be able to dissect the reading in there to figure out, what do I need to find out? What do I need to know? How do I solve it? And how do I know my answer is right? And these are steps that you would traditionally take in solving a math problem. And it really dives in on the formative assessment piece to really know where their misconceptions are, if they are making mistakes in the problem, or again, if this is something that all the students really kind of get and that we can move on to the next standard that you would be teaching. One of the things I really like is that you may not be able to use physical manipulatives in the classroom right now. So being able to add in objects and create your own on the digital environment is super powerful. So since this is about cookies, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add an image of a cookie. And I'm going to take my 1 cookie over here, and I'm going to make that represent my batches. And if I click on it again, you'll see that these objects appear, a trash can to remove it, or a little duplicate button. So I'm making 5 batches of cookies, so I can quickly copy and make 5 movable cookie options. And if I know that I need to only use half, maybe I'm going to divide them in half. And I'm going to answer this question a little bit more literally, but in a diagram state. Just one idea of how to solve it, but you can write in, you can use the text tool, and you can use the pen tool to be able to answer this question. So I'm going to go in and check on you guys and see what kind of ways you're practicing and trying to solve this problem. And I'll start at the beginning here, and we'll see. So you can see the Blessing is using a variety of different text tools to help answer the questions. You're trying to find out cups of sugar. Good. Great start. Underlining, drawing arrows. Awesome. Adding text. Love the pictures of cookies. So again, this was just an organizer that I created myself using some simple tools from a blank page, kind of setting it up almost like I would like a PowerPoint page. And then now you bringing it into Smart Learning Suite Online, you can add that interactive element. You can see the students' understanding around the problem and the standard that they're trying to address. I just have a few more examples for you guys before we head into the how did Laura do this section. Okay. This next one is another example of a ready-made activity that is already pre-created by Smart, and it's a graphic organizer. And I'm going to set you guys up though, and I've converted this graphic organizer into a workspace. Now, the first workspace that you all were experiencing earlier today was everyone in one team. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide you guys up into small teams. Again, since we have 9 folks participating, I'm going to go ahead and divide you into 3 teams. I do have the ability to move you around, so if I know Blessing really works well with Carol and maybe Diane works really well with Martha, I'm going to mix you guys up. You could have same level groupings, you could have mixed groupings, whatever you need for the activity. And then when I go ahead and hit Start Workspace, it's going to tell each of you who your partners are for this activity. Now, within Smart Learning Suite Online, students don't have the ability to chat or video chat of any sort, so that would be where Google Meet would come into play. What they're doing in here is they're able to communicate just in their little white workspace area, what I've created. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump into team number 1 as my example, and you'll see that there is a mind map about figurative language. And so the question is for you is like, give me some examples of figurative language. And now your team together could start answering and brainstorming the ideas by just adding in using the text tool, maybe adding an image or using the pen tool to be able to write the answers. And I'm going to kick it off with one in here so that everybody can see. And I'm going to do a simile. Now, the only people that can see that response right now are those that are in group 1. So I'm going to go over to group 2. I'm going to see how they're doing and check in on them by using little arrows. And I'm going to give them a hint too. I'm going to do metaphor. And everybody in team 2 can now see that I added metaphor. And now we can see that Martha added in simile. Awesome. I'm going to go over to team 3 and check in on them. Oh, they're doing really well. Idiom, simile, metaphor, hyperbole, onomatopoeia. I think we have an English teacher in the house, guys. Love it. And now I'm going to cycle back and I'm going to check in back on team 1 and see where they're at now. Perfect. Now we've got some additions in there. So I'm able as a teacher to kind of jump through your different activities to be able to provide feedback, see how you're doing, provide any sort of verbal information that I need to be able to share with the group. And this is a very simple activity that's great, even not only for formative assessment as maybe a reminder like, hey, what strategies or what tools did we learn about figurative language? Or we could say, what do you already know about figurative language? And students are able to populate in the answers. All right, last example before I show you the how is the 3+1 exit ticket. We have a variety of exit tickets that are also available, great for formative assessment to figure out where students are at the end of every period, maybe at the end of the lesson, maybe at the end of a big activity that you've done or a project. So again, you guys have probably already hit start because you've realized the start button's there. Go ahead and hit start. And I can pull up my teacher handout activity to explain this to you. And what it is 3+1. Share 3 things you learned and 1 thing that you wonder about. So you could do this based upon formative assessment, because we've been learning about that today, or you could do this about what you've learned about smart learning speed online. So I learned formative assessment can be fun. So I'm going to add that as one of mine. I'm using the text tool. I learned that monster quiz, which is super fun and exciting. And then a question that you have. So if you do even want to start backwards for me and provide a question that you have a wonder about or a question that you have, then I can address that while we are still on our time today on this live session. I'm going to start popping in at Aria. Awesome. She learned a variety of activities that can be used for formative assessment. You learned about formative language. You can get data from responses. Yep. And what is formative assessment? Awesome. Ready? Many handouts are already made. They are. Monster quiz is awesome. Quizzes could be fun too. I think you need to do a lesson with math and cookies. I did see a lot of people doing the Oreo activity for the moons this week too on Twitter. Can this be put in Google Classroom? Yes, and I'm going to show you how. Few caveats for Google Classroom though. Monster quiz only works live. Response only works live. Shout it out only works live. Everything else can be done in Google Classroom. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump to the how. So in the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to click the hamburger, the 3 lines, and that's going to give me my menu to be able to edit. When I tap on edit the lesson, it brings me into my slide deck essentially. And in my slide deck, I am able to click the blue plus button. And with the blue plus button, it brings up the dashboard for the Smart Learning Suite Online. And this is essentially where I created everything for this session that we did today. Remember how I was talking about ready-made resources? That's where I got those digital manipulatives from. There are a ton. I just showed you, I think, the making words and the music notes. But there are a ton for math. There's multiplication, blocks, sorting, money. I know you guys are probably coming up on money units soon. Coins in US dollars, drag and drop, making a dollar. Base 10, another very popular one. So those were the ready-made manipulatives. The graphic organizer is the one that I used for the figurative language. But let's say I wanted to add in 2-column note-taking. All I literally do to build this into my lesson is I click and it's in, and that's it. And again, you go back into the blue button to continue to add more into your lesson. The game-based activities, so the one where I had you guys matching, that was match them up. Has different themes along with it. And then I showed you monster quiz as well. But there are 11 different types of games that you can choose from and build for formative assessment. The exit ticket, I use the ready-made activity for question and reflection. So you'll see that not just handouts and workspaces, but there's also shouted out response activities, and then the handouts as well. And I did the share 3 things you learned. One of my other favorite is cause and effect. Great for social studies. Okay. The one that I made with the cookie math example, remember how I said I made this from a new page? I didn't actually create it from something that was already made. So just like you can do in PowerPoint or Google Slides, you have a blank page that you can work off of. All I did for this was I deleted what was already here. It's kind of like a little bit of a template like you would see on a title slide. And I just searched in, what did I search in? Black line. Go ahead, draw my black line. There it is. Next piece of advice, if you don't want students to be able to move that object, in the upper right-hand corner, you can actually lock it down. Let's say I want to just add text, and maybe this is a timeline activity. I've got my timeline title. Maybe I'm going to add a dashed line. And I'm going to add that right up there. I'll lock it. Actually, before I'm going to lock it, I'm going to duplicate it a couple times. And now, I think this took me under a minute to create a timeline activity for my students. If I just leave it like this, I'll be the only one who can write on it. So you'll see some additional tools down at the bottom. This page is view only on student devices. If I want students to be able to interact on it, you're going to select the button down at the bottom here, convert to activity. And I can make this a handout if I want each student to have their own individual copy, or I can make this a workspace if I want students to work in small groups, or if I want them to be able to work in one large group. So I'll go ahead and make this a handout activity, and then I'm able to rename it up at the top. So I remind myself, timeline handout. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish the activity, and I'm going to jump into the portion about how you get this into your students either in Google Classroom or how to be able to grade it as well. Two ways you can share this with students. You go to hellosmart.com, how you guys did today, and that's how you interact live. If you're going to maybe have students do some of this after the fact, let's say you've introduced it live, now you want the students to go and continue working on their own. You click on that menu again and you hit share link, and you're going to let students access this lesson work at their own pace. You can copy this link, you could drop it into your Google Meet chat. Students then are able to complete and finish on their own at their own pace, no other changes required. Or you are able to go into Google Classroom, and I'm going to go into, let's see if I have access in here, Smart Team, Classwork, and I can create an assignment, and let's call this Formative Assessment. When I click Add here, I can add directly from Google Drive because that's where this activity lives. So as I look into my Drive, this is called Keep Calm and Measure On, and I just insert the lesson automatically in here. Keep it as students can view file and they're able to access with no problem, and it will run at their own pacing and make their own copy. And then you just assign it to your class. That's all it is, because Smart Learning Suite Online lives in your Google Drive. So now that I'm in my Google Drive, I just want to show you how do you start off with the lesson. So if you were in Google Drive, it lives under New, More, Smart Learning Suite. And that's where you'll see Smart Learning Suite brings you into that dashboard. Okay, so Smart Learning Suite Online lives within your Google Drive. To wrap up for our time together today, I just want to go ahead and bring up 2 more slides. So it's your turn now. I've showed you a variety of different ways that you are able to create formative assessment using the Smart Learning Suite Online, and we'd love to see how you guys are using it with your classes. So if you're able to use any of these that we've created today, because we will be sharing them with you here and on the Educational Technology website, share out on Google Currents or the Smart Ideas or hashtag Smart Champion or @PBCSD or Smart PLN out on Twitter, and you'll be able to share the activities that you have created, and we'll love to see them in action. And then the last bit is I'm hoping one of my training partners has been able to jump into the chat to be able to drop the resources for today. So I did go kind of quickly and I gave you a lot of examples today. Cool thing, this is recorded. So you are able to go back, rewind me, pause me, and see how all of this was created, as well as having access to these resources and teacher guides on how to create them. So if you then have any questions, you can feel free to reach out. And then I'm going to kick it back over to John to see if there are any questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Laura. I think Blessing and Kia and I think Ryan have been in the chat answering a couple of questions. So we appreciate it.
Awesome.
I'll bring you back up here in a second to close us out, okay? As a reminder, everyone, don't forget we have office hours for teachers every Tuesday from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. That link to get in is located on our website, which is edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. And basically, it's just a time where you bring us your tech question and try to stump us. I think we had our hardest question of the year yesterday. We had a good stumper. We had to bring in some backup to figure out what the answer was. So we love the hard questions. We love the easy questions, but we're just here to support you guys in any way that you need us to best reach your students with your technology. So please don't forget those office hours are there. You'll get us in there. We're there devoted for that hour to help solving any problem that you need. Also, last week we hinted that we're going to be changing things up a bit because we know that this may not be the best time for you to watch some live streams. So what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be filming a video tomorrow. We're going to be doing another one of our Google Meet updates that have been pretty popular with you guys. So we're going to share some of the amazing new features that just came out. Some of you may still not have them yet. We think everyone has breakout rooms. That one came out pretty quick. But I just got polls and Q&A today. So all those features are coming out. So we're going to make another fun, exciting video for you tomorrow and post that to our channel whenever it's ready. So be on the lookout for that. And we're going to be doing custom updates like that for the foreseeable future until we have some other things that we're going to share with you guys. So please don't forget to use our website, edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. That's where our calendar lives. And every time that we have a session coming up, we will put it there. And so with that, on behalf of the training team, I want to thank Laura and everyone else for joining us today. And we appreciate you for being here. And Laura, I'll let you have the last words.
Thank you so much, John. Just thank you, everybody. It was a great session today. I'm so glad everybody was able to see how Smart Learning Suite Online will be able to help you with fun, formative assessment for the school year.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.